Okay, welcome to the player ratings episode. Very regretful episode because we've had a shocking performance. Well, I mean, look, it was a tale of two halves. First quarter, to be honest, that's probably the best that I've seen us play with this group ever, really. That first quarter was really exciting. The way we moved the ball, the composure, the pressure. You know, we got a goal out of a defensive action, Dave Cunningham, chase, tackle, goal, and then it just sort of fell away. And to be fair, it was an inconsistent performance, and an inconsistent performance from a team with a list that plays pretty inconsistently. A young side had all the hallmarks of a team who just didn't know how to settle down when the going got tough, and that's where we are. And we got what we deserved. One thing I'm not totally outraged because I know that we're on the right track, and I have full faith in that. We're in games, we put ourselves in winning positions. It's just getting over that hump. You look at all the teams of recent years who have gone on to either win premierships or do really well, the Doggies, the Tigers. The year before they did that, they were sort of in these situations that we find ourselves in, winning positions, just not able to quite capitalise. So I have faith that we're moving forward, to be quite honest. But yeah, obviously very disappointed just to see the result. Very excited at quarter time, very excited at half time, shockingly disappointed at three-quarter time. And then, throughout the whole process, I still thought we were going to win the game. So anyway, it is what it is. Got to move on. We'll go through the player ratings. It's interesting because I don't know how this is going to go. They played so well in the first half and, built up the brownie points, but then ultimately just, squandered the opportunity. So anyway, starting in the back line, Daisy Thomas. Thought he was one of our best players. Racked up the possessions today, had the 25 touches, the 8 marks. Thought he played a pretty good game. I'm going to give him an 8 for his game. Liam Jones, I thought he was fantastic today. He's had a really, really good start to the season. Took 10 marks, really strong intercept marks, contested marks. I thought he was fantastic. I'm going to give him a 9. I thought it was one of his better games for the year, but we had one of those Liam Jones moments that, going into the season, we were sort of hoping we weren't going to see. He took the game on, and, unfortunately, it was a shocking error, a real Kermit the Frog type error, gave up a goal in our defensive 50. So just want him to get rid of that, obviously, but, he's had a great year. He's had a great game, and so yeah, I was really happy with his game, obviously until the end. Caleb Marchbank, yeah, he didn't have a great game today. He's building, he's finding his way a little bit. It could be one of those those ebbs and flows of the season. He got back to full fitness last week, and he just didn't have quite the impact today that we would have liked. I'll give him a 4 for his game. Half back line, Simo. Unfortunate, got injured. Apparently it's a hamstring and it's a pretty bad one, so a bit of an old man injury, I guess. So he didn't return after half time. Hard to give him a rating. I actually thought he was cracking in quite a lot in that first half, getting right in and under in that ball. And I think I noticed him playing a little bit more up the ground today, which was interesting. I won't rate him because, again, it was a tough one. He was off at half time, didn't come back. So I'll leave him be. Jacob Wiedering, yeah, he's having a good year, and he continued on. He's now at the point where he's sort of just like having a standard with his performances as like a bare minimum, and so I'll give him a 7 for his game today. But I'm really enjoying watching him body out his opponents and move them out of the way with his hips, and then take strong marks, intercept marks, and I really like the way he's reading the ball. The ball was getting peppered in there a lot in that second half, particularly in that third quarter, and in that fourth as well. I mean, they were out on their feet. You put your defenders under pressure when you don't win the ball out of the middle, and it was tough going for our defenders today, especially as the game ended. So, yeah, he was one of those. We've given up 93 points, which is not great, but yeah, I thought Jacob was still pretty solid today. Lockie Plowman next. Oh man, he fucking pisses me off a lot. He actually had a really good game today, stat-wise. He had the 24 touches. I feel like one in every 4 or 1 in every 5 possessions, he does something so fucking stupid. There was one moment in that first quarter where obviously we're all over him. We are absolutely all over them, and he gave them a goal. He gifted them a goal. Tried to do something really cute. tried to go in board, and like I don't mind trying to be brave, but I mean the fact is he just turned it over so badly it resulted in an instant Hawthorn goal, and you don't need that, especially when you're on top of your opposition so much. You're really impacting the game, and to have one of your experienced defenders just turn the ball over like that, it really fucking irritates me. So I don't know, he redeemed himself with his stat line, but I'll give him a 6 for his game anyway, because he just fucking pisses me off, and he's just a guy that needs to be better, needs to be harder, to be quite honest with you. I want to see Lockie Plowman play with the aggression that he played with last week. It's almost as if he needs the pressure of a poor performance to respond, as opposed to just playing well week in and week out. He doesn't really set himself a standard and sort of adhere to it. And it frustrates me because I know how talented he can be. So yeah, that's how I saw Lockie Plowman. And the centre, Mark Murphy, I hate this one because I've backed him in so much all season for years. I have refused to let anyone say a bad word about Mark Murphy because of what he's done for the club and sticking around, and obviously playing and sticking with a club that really he didn't need to stay with. There's reports out there that he's on $900,000 a year. I don't really believe that, unless you reveal your sources. Don't really come up with something that may or may not be true. I'd be very shocked if he's on $900,000 a year, but if he is, that's a complete mismanagement from the club. But yeah, I thought it was one of his poorer performances that I've seen, to be quite honest, throughout his entire career. I felt like at times I never want to call players soft. I felt like at times he bumped when he should have tackled. And I felt like he was probably preserving himself a little bit, which again, I am the first person to back Murph. But today I've got nothing to say. He was poor with his disposal. He's all of a sudden lost this composure that he once had. Every time he's under pressure, he seems to turn the ball over or just put it in a position that's not clean. I'm going to give him a 4 today, and I'm really sad to see it, and I hope he can respond next week, and I'll back him in to respond next week because he's a senior player and he knows better. Paddy Cripps, funnily enough, he had 28 touches in the end, and he finds a way to find the minimum, the bare standard. He had 9 tackles, 17 contested possessions, but he just wasn't clean today. I was happy that he wasn't dominating in the first half and we were up by so much. I thought that was a real big sign of our growth. And then obviously as Hawthorn came back into the game and we needed someone to lift, it was on him, and he did. But he just wasn't clean today. It wasn't the usual dominance that we were used to seeing from Paddy Cripps, and that's okay, because what he's able to do is find other ways to impact. And in this case, it was the tackle count. He's had 9 of them. So I'm going to give him a 7. I'm going to give him a 7 for that, because when we needed a leader, he did dig deep. He was one of the few that did. Sam Walsh is next. Great kid. 27 possessions. He's just a great runner. He puts a smile on my face, that's for sure, and I'm sure he puts a smile on your faces as the Carlton faithful. I'm going to give him an 8 for his game today. Remember, I will keep saying this. There are no expectations on him, and I think he's just exceeding everything. We don't need him to have 25 possessions a game. He just does it, and it's sort of like an extra. He's a kid that's going to have ebbs and flows, and we need to be patient with him. You look at Paddy Dow, young kids, Zach Fisher, they take time. And, Sam Walsh is, quickly becoming a man, and it's exciting to see. And I thought his run is, again, we say it every week, it's impressive. So I'll leave it at that. Next up, half forward line, Samo. Thought he was one of our best today. He died off a little bit towards the end of the game. I think they were just out on their feet, but he was prolific when we were up and about. He had the 23 touches, kicked himself a nice goal. Again, he just needs to we just need to find a way to get him the ball 25 times, minimum a game, because he just does great things with it. The ability to go on both sides and be composed and go short, go long and hit targets is just, it's impressive. I really want to give him a 9, but, he died out in the game. So I'll give him an 8 for his game. But he was on track to have a really dominant performance, but just didn't carry over. And listen, when you lose points. So it is what it is. Harry Mackay is next. Again, another one who started off really well. I think I had him as my 3rd best player for the side in the first quarter. So he was out coached today, but again, let's put it in context. Young guy, 21 years old, a forward. Where he's 27, 28 is when we start seeing the absolute best of Harry Mackay. So I thought he still did what he needed to do. He really needs to kick us 1 or 2 goals a game, present, be a target. He's had the 11 touches at the 6 marks. For me, that's more than a pass mark. That's the bare minimum for me. So I'll give Harry a 7 for his game. It was unfortunate that he wasn't able to kick on and find a way to continue to impact, but definitely not going to be, getting on him. Again, he's a guy that I'm happy to be patient with. I'm able to realise the context and the perspective that is Harry Mackay's career. So let's settle down on him. Levi Casbolt. Now, one thing I noticed, look, great game. One thing I noticed with him is his field kicking is getting better in the last few games. He's hitting up targets that are short, and he's really not known in my experience anyway as someone that's able to do that. But I like that he was able to lower his eyes and actually hit a target. Usually he has this, I don't want to say dopey big man about him, but he kind of does in a sense. He just sort of just bombs it long, marks it, he's not able to think his way through a game at all. But I thought he did that a little bit today. I'm actually going to give Levi a solid 8 today because I thought he competed well in the ruck as well. Kicked himself a goal. So, kudos to him. I still think if Charlie's going to play that Levi has to come out. I'm not a fan of the 4 talls myself. I don't like the idea of Charlie, Levi, Harry and Mitch playing. I can understand the merit in having Levi there because, you don't want Harry in the ruck, but there's something about that 4 tall structure that just doesn't sit well with me. I mean, I could be proven wrong, and I guess I was proven wrong in a sense a little bit at the start of that first half. So let's see how we go with it. But we need to get Charlie back as soon as we can. Forward line, Michael Gibbons. He was thought he was solid. Played his role at the 13 touches. Would like for him to have got more of the ball because we are pushing him up the ground a little bit more. But what I'm seeing from him is an improvement in his composure. A few moments there where he had the ball, could have kicked it, waited, could have handballed, waited, used his footwork to get around players and shifted around them, and I like it. And I like him in the side. I'm going to give him a 6 for his game. But yeah, he's getting better and better. He seems like he's learning the craft at this level and he's getting adjusted to the speed. So happy with that. Mitch McGovern, I thought he was another one that was a lot better this week than in previous weeks. Still playing in patches though. That's the problem with him. He's playing in patches, goes missing, but when he's on, he looks so fucking good. The goals he kicks are really impressive. His set shots are really good. He's obviously a great target, and I spoke about it throughout the week on the Carlton Live show. I mean, if he's the general in our forward line who's using his voice to make sure Harry goes there and to make sure Levi goes here and to make sure whatever, then I don't mind him in the side. But I'm not at the game, so I can't really see what role he's playing during the game. I'm going to give him a 6 for his game because, again, I've got to see him have a full game performance. It hasn't really happened yet. A little bit worried. It's sort of like we want to be validated, or I want to be validated from the Mitch McGovern recruitment. I haven't quite been able to say with total confidence and conviction, yeah, Mitch McGovern is a great pickup. So he's a good pickup in the sense that right now he's a big body and we need them in the side. But yeah, I do want to see a bit more from him because I've got high standards for him. I think he's a great player. I think he can be a really, really great player. So that's how I saw him. Ed Curnow, hey, respect, 24 touches, 8 marks, 1 goal. Battles, had a poor game last week and responded. The questions come up with Ed a bit quicker than the rest of them, especially the young guys. I think because, eventually the reality is we want these Walshes, these Dows, these Stockers, these kids in the VFL, for example, who are going to take Ed's spot. We want that depth. We want Ed to eventually become a guy that's just getting a game because someone's injured, because what that's going to mean is people are elevating around him. So as limited as we say Ed is, I thought he had a great game today. I'm going to give him an 8 for his game. I love the fact that he responded from last week. It's a really, it's an important point to make, especially for the younger guys need to see what happens when you have a poor performance. How do you respond? Followers, Matt Cruiser, fucking shattered. You can just tell the difference he makes to this side. The problem is he just cannot stay healthy. This guy's body has let him down so much, and it's tough because he's a good character. Doesn't do any bullshit off the field, doesn't get himself in trouble, doesn't get himself suspended, respectful, plays hard, plays tough, tackles, does all the 1%ers, and he's had a body that just hasn't been able to hold up to the rigours of the AFL. hard. To be quite honest with you, he was really on track for like a 9/10 game. Kicked a great goal. But yeah, reports have come in that he's done a pretty bad hamstring. So he'll miss time. And again, as soon as he went off, he didn't play in that fourth quarter. It's like immediate. You can see the impact this guy has for our club. So shattered for him. Shattered for my Supercoach draft team as well because I've got him sitting on my bench. But yeah, I'll give him I still think he was worthy of a 7 for his game. Had he finished the game, he would have been on that 8-9 level. So yeah, hopefully we can get him back as soon as possible, and hopefully we can salvage something out of his career. He's yet to have an All-Australian selection, and I think he, a player of his talent, he needs to get to that level. He's made a squad before from memory. So, what can you do? What can you do? You just got to take the injuries as they come. They're part of the game, and that's how it is. Paddy Dow, look, again, solid. 16 touches, kicked himself a goal, a nice goal, and he needed it as well. A few things I liked about it. It was against the stem of play. It was a goal that we badly needed. Hawthorn had just kept coming, and he just steadied us up a little bit, gave us a couple of minutes to relax a little bit and go to the next play. And also for his confidence, his kicking hasn't been great. It's been highlighted, particularly his shots on goal. And again, I thought he did what he needed to do as a guy with his age profile and a guy in his development of his career. That's kind of where he's at. 16 touches. Probably want more from him in his second year. Would like him to get to that 18, 19 mark. But I'll take his game. I'll give him a 7 for his game. But yeah, room for improvement as always. But that's how I saw his game. Zach Fisher, he's building a nice season. He's just sort of slowly eased his way into it. He could have a breakout game in the next couple. I think Samo had done something a little bit similar before his breakout game last week. He was getting those 23, 24, 22 possession games, and then he sort of broke out. So I look for Zach Fisher next week. I think North Melbourne's a great side for him to have one of those breakout games, and I look forward to him having a big one next week. I thought he was great today. I thought he was there when the going got tough, and it's good to see. It's good to see because the first few games I was a little bit nervous, thinking about, what's his role? Where is he in the side? Haven't really noticed him. And so he's just building solidly. So I'll give him an 8 for his game today. Pleasantly happy with him. Jack Silvani, it's so interesting how good Jack Silvani looked in the first half. And it's so interesting what a win can do for a team and the lens that we look at, the Carlton Football Club on. First half, I'm thinking, Jack's been great, fits into this side perfectly. He's agile, he's a target, he does this, he does that. Then we lose. You look at his stats, 13 touches, 1 goal. You think, is that really a good game? But I actually did think he was great. Not great, good. He's 7 marks, got around the ground, presented well, pressured well, and he's another one that I'm glad to say has set himself a minimum standard, and I thought he achieved that today. That's the bare minimum that we've got to get from Jack Silvani, and I think he'll definitely stay in the side. So, having said that, is a bit more than a pass mark, so I can't give him a 5. Probably give him a 6. So yeah, just that there. Lockie O'Brien mightily struggled early in the game, and it's funny. I was in one of my group chats with the Carlton boys. I've got a few of them going on, and I was saying he's kicked 2 goals, especially one at the end of the game when we really needed it, and we were still in the game. And so to see him kick 2 goals, have his 9 touches. Obviously, he needs to get more of the ball, but I mean, the reality is he's gone forward, he's kicked 2 goals. What are you going to knock him for? I'll give him a 5, having said that, because it was just a bare pass mark. Had it not been for those goals, he's out of the side. He might still be out of the side. He's got to find a way to get more of the ball. He's a great runner. I don't understand. Like towards the end of last season, he was having those 16, 17, 18, 19 possession games. And you'd think that with the preseason that improves, especially with his running power. So it's tough. It's tough. It was an improvement from last week, but probably just wasn't enough. And because we lose the game, all of a sudden his game doesn't look as great. If we win this game, we say, he's done all right. He's played his role, kicked his 2 goals. We'll move on, keep him in the side. Because we've lost the game, the lens is a little bit different. So again, give him a 6. Give him a 5. Give him a 5. It was a pass mark. He needs to impact the game more. We want more from him. And I'm not taking shots at him. He's a young kid. He'll get there. He has his ups. He has his downs. But we've got a list where we can put 22 on the park and all 22 can contribute. So, yeah, Nick Newman, spewing to see him get injured. And the reality is, you've got to think about this. Newman and Simo go down. They're already our two of our most experienced defenders. The drive off halfback, you could just see it. The second the two of them are out of the side, all of a sudden Puopolo pops up, Luke Bruce pops up, Gunston pops up, and it hurt. It hurt losing the two of them. Obviously, two on the bench is tough. Three is even worse. In that fourth quarter, we had one healthy player. Newman was good. I think he went off in the third. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, left the field early in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, look, he wasn't having a great game. But, again, he's just someone that settles us down, structures us up. If the ball comes in his area, he knows what he's got to do. I'll give him a 6. I'll give him a 6. He was on track for a 7, but I'll give him a 6. And hopefully from what I've read, it's a jarred knee. If that's all that's happened, he could be back next week. Or he could miss a week. So we'll see. But, again, you've got to think about it. Newman and Simo could potentially both be out next week. That's a problem. It's a problem against a downhill skiing North Melbourne. So, yeah, we'll think about that during the week. Let the actual official news come out and go from there. And finally, Dave Cunningham. Fucking love this guy. 16 touches, 10 contested possessions, 1 goal. Probably came back a little bit early. Had to come back, forced into the side. But he's really, really confident. He's going to have his breakout year this year. He needs to, first of all. And second of all, I love him. He's quick, he's got strength, he's got explosiveness out of the stoppages. He doesn't panic now because he's got that confidence in his body. Just got to get him a few more games now, and hopefully he can get himself to that 22, 23 possession average. I don't know if he can do that this year just yet because he's not a guy that gets a lot of the ball. But yeah, anywhere between 17 and 20, and I'm happy with that, and then we can build off that for next year. But yeah, I thought he was good. He didn't run the game out well, and that's to be understood because he's missed 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and so I understand. So I'll give him a 7 for his game, but I loved what I saw from him. I thought his goal in the first quarter, that's exactly what we're asking for from Paulson, for Solo, the forward pressure. That's why they're in the side, and that was the definition of what we need from a small guy when he's in the forward line. So very happy with David Cunningham's progress. Guys, settle down. It's okay. Emotions got the best of us. The initial reaction after a loss like that is, it's all fucking breaking down. Really good mate of mine, James Clohesi, Jimmy, sent me a message and said 8 games ago we lost to Hawthorn by 13 goals. We scored 8 points in the first half of that game. We were fucking embarrassing that game. We have not been embarrassing this year. We have been in every game. Yes, we fucked up against the Gold Coast Suns. Yes, we fucked up today. We should have won both games, but I'd rather be in games, learning, getting these mistakes. I mean, how are you going to rectify a 13-goal loss? You've been pathetic all day. I mean, I'd rather at least watch a game where I know we're in the game and have some sort of hope. Things are coming. Things are turning. Things are happening slowly, but life happens slowly. You don't just become great straight away. They're not all going to be like Sam Walsh. But I've got faith. I'm happy with what I've seen as a whole. We've got a really solid sample size now. 6 games, we've looked better than last year. There is no doubt about it. We came up against the side this week who are experienced, and we fucked around with our lead. We got a little complacent. We weren't able to settle down when we needed to. When the heat came back on us and the momentum came back on us, we just weren't able to think our way through it. That comes with experience, no doubt about it. I'm very confident about that. So with that, those are my player ratings. Hopefully this video works because I don't know what happened with my live reaction video. It just, I don't know, iMovie decided it just didn't want to work. So if this doesn't work with the video, you'll be hearing it in the audio. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. It's on all major platforms, Blue Abroad. If you're on the Facebook page, give me a like, send me a comment. I love connecting with you guys. I love talking to you all. I love the private messages I get with the people that I've met from around the world. It's fucking amazing. And next week's a big one. We've got to beat North Melbourne, who I just don't give any respect to. It's a bunch of fucking B graders, and we're going to show them up next week at Marvel Stadium. Looking forward to it. Go the Mighty Blues.